This week in many states around the country, there were elections called by some in the media the off-year elections, but they really weren't. These were the off-year elections, the downstroke of the four-year election cycle. Next year's midterms are really the off-year elections when the fate of the United States Congress, both the House and the Senate, will be determined. We'll get to that in just a minute. But with a unfortunate low turnout in many parts of the country, including here in Pennsylvania, some interesting trends we're seeing. In my home state of Pennsylvania, women won every single statewide election this time, sweeping all 7 state appellate court races. That's very interesting because there's been a lot of discussion about more women candidates and more women elected officials. And as someone who chaired the national campaign of a woman candidate for president, not the Democratic one last year, I'm very, very happy that there are more women running and more women winning. The key, I think, is if they're on the ballot, they stand a much better chance. So run, women, run. Pennsylvania showed that women can win statewide, and they certainly did very decisively, sweeping all 7 races on Tuesday night here in Pennsylvania. Much of the national attention, of course, was focused on the 2 gubernatorial elections, the 2 states in the country that hold governor's races in the off years. New Jersey, no big surprise there. Clearly a blue state, always has trended that way. But what's been interesting has been the juxtaposition of Democratic governors with Republicans coming in right after them to clean up the mess. Virginia was the one that really was focused upon, and it looked like it might go the Republicans' way, even though Hillary Clinton carried the state, and it's currently occupied by a Democratic governor. But Ed Gillespie put together a very strong campaign, and the polls, although they still showed him trailing going into Election Day, were trending his way, and trend lines tend to continue and flow into Election Day. This time they didn't. There was actually a reverse effect, and the margin for Ed Gillespie was much larger than folks had anticipated. And therein lies the real reason for analysis. Gillespie lost largely in Northern Virginia, in the growing rural counties around Washington, D.C. Fairfax County has long been analogous to Montgomery County, Maryland, a solid blue county on the shores of the Potomac, just on the other side of the city where sound travels faster than light. Clearly within the Washington, D.C. bubble. But this time, counties like Loudoun and Prince William, where Gillespie had done fairly well a couple of years ago when he ran for the Senate, losing those counties, but by narrow margins, he lost by double digits this time around. That's the question that prevails at this point. What impact did Donald Trump and his administration have on that race? Depends on who you talk to. Trump says it was that Gillespie didn't embrace him enough. Others say that Gillespie was tied to him and therefore did badly. Gillespie did a pretty good job of fusing both traditional establishment Republicans and more populist Trump supporters in Virginia. But it wasn't enough, and there will be a lot of analysis of that race as it looks forward to the 2018 contests for the House and the Senate, where Republicans ought to be able to pick up significant numbers in the Senate, where Democrats are forced to defend 25 out of 33 seats, many in states carried by Donald Trump and several in states carried by him in double digits and even deep double digits. The House has always been a little bit more shaky, where the margin is relatively slim and where historically the party in power has lost a significant number of seats. So we'll look forward to that. But the lesson that comes out of Tuesday is this: the Democrats were energized, particularly those on the farther left side of the Democratic Party, marking their calendars to the day that they could get out and vote to make a statement about Donald Trump. Energized and active. The Republicans, not so much, and still having some internal divisions that are going to thwart them if they can't put them together before next year, much less 2020. Democrats have their own divisions. They've got folks pulling that party dramatically to the left. Democratic socialism is not ultimately a model that's going to work most places. So you've got some clear divisions in both parties, and a lot of folks wondering what the future of either party is. That'll be something really interesting to watch. And for now, that's the best 60-ish seconds of your week.